you for everyone for being here with us today. I know we're getting this question from our clients, so we wanted to know what are the latest health and benefit trends and how are successful companies utilizing them to retain their greatest resource. We're honored to have our guest here today to help answer these questions. Greg Haffely is Senior Vice President of Employee Health and Benefits with Marsh McLennan Agency, a global health and benefits leader. Greg brings over 14 years of subject matter expertise and a background in recruiting and staffing. He brings a personalized approach that offers great value to his audience with real-time insights and best practices. So thanks for being with us today, Greg.
Very happy to be here. Thank you, Jen.
Can you tell us a bit more about Marsh and your role there?
Absolutely. And I did put together a brief PowerPoint presentation, and we'll just click through a couple slides as questions come on, just as talking pieces. And so Marsh McLennan Agency, real quick, we're a full brokerage agency throughout the United States. So I focus in the employee health and benefits piece. We also do business insurance, executive benefits, private client, which is personal insurance, and then retirement services, so 401k, 403b insurances. So we certainly partner with our clients, any aspects of their insurance pieces. And I would say that the minimum expectation in a broker relationship today is doing the insurance really, really well. There are all the other ways that your broker can help you in the areas of recruiting and retention on the employee benefit piece. There's certainly lots of ways that we do that. And that's where we love to partner with our clients. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I see a lot of familiar faces out there today. So thank you very much for joining.
It's awesome. Thanks for being with us here, Greg. And we invite everyone in the audience to participate as much as you feel here today. There's in the chat on LinkedIn, you'll see area for you to leave a question for Greg or leave a question for us. Feel free to do that. If you have any comments about what we're talking about, drop that in and we'll include that in the conversation. And then also the emoji buttons. If you want to celebrate or like or love something that's being talked about, use that and fires up the screen a bit. So we're looking forward to everyone's questions, comments, and we're definitely looking forward to Greg's commentary here. So while the overall economy is definitely changing, companies are still very concerned about employee retention and recruitment. So what benefit trends are you seeing lately that's working well for companies, Greg?
Yeah, Tom, that's a great question. And as you know, things are changing rapidly today. So I'm just going to pull up a quick slide. These are the 6 realities that we use with our clients in 2022. If you notice, a lot of this information is already going obsolete, right? We're already moving past 22 rapidly, going into 2023. But in 2022, we saw workforce demands obviously changing a lot. Critical mission D&I programs really being rolled out, enhancing benefit plans 2020, 2021. We saw organizations can't find people, can't get a truck to move anything, can't get raw materials to build our products, orders coming out of our ears, and we need the people in order to help that grow. So we saw a lot of reinvestment into employee benefit programs for that recruiting and retention aspect, which a lot of these are listed today. And I can certainly send this out to anybody that's joining today. The specifics when it comes to employee benefits in the work-life piece was obviously remote workforce, having that flexibility to either work 100% remotely and or have that hybrid. We saw advanced PTO plans. We saw advanced family leave plans being built out beyond just parental leave. Fertility support was certainly enhanced. And then caregiver parental support as well, having a sick or loved one and really providing financial resources to go visit that person, whether it be, in car or flying across the country, hotel support, et cetera, to help out a family individual. We saw more physical well-being resources, really, getting into those programs again of, okay, since we are at home or since we are in a hybrid area, getting more money to resources for gym memberships, Pelotons we saw, in-home fitness equipment, et cetera. And if I move to the far right side, the financial well-being, I think we saw the most change or enhancements in benefit programs. And that first one being a lifestyle spending account. So we have clients that will give, say, up to $5,000 and put it into a lifestyle account and then list off all the different ways that you as an individual can use that to pay for maybe your kid's hockey ice time, for basketball lessons, again, to go see a loved one or an ailing parent. Any amount of things that you want to list in that benefit can be used and expensed, accordingly. So we saw a lot in that specific area. We also saw student loan reimbursement become more and more popular, saying, okay, we're going to basically put some money aside and either do a matching program or help you pay down your student loan debt. So from a financial well-being, we saw a lot of reinvestment in those specific areas.
That is really interesting. What are you forecasting for employee benefit costs heading into the next year?
So waiting for that question. As everybody's going through renewal season, and we certainly have our running shoes on this time of year at MMA. So going back to 2020, 2021, we saw renewals relatively flat. Carriers having a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace, not knowing exactly where we're going with this pandemic. Want to keep everything as close to possible, when it comes to benefit costs and plan designs. So there were tweaking of plan designs, but we saw lots of flat or small single-digit increases in that time period. As we now are going into 2023, we see the inflation at the pump. We see the inflation at the grocery store. Medical inflation is also very real as well. So we have two things going on right now. We have increased medical inflation costs going up in our renewals. We also have utilization increased because people are now getting the procedures. Okay. So if we were seeing 5-6% increases, 7% increases in previous years, that is now an 8 to 9%. So we are certainly seeing an uptick. I'd say our median increases right now are around that 8% mark right now. And of course, increases or decreases are driven by claims. If you're fully funded, there's going to be some community weight and balance in there as well. But for the most part, utilization and or medical costs is increasing in 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. Follow-up question on that related. What are you seeing, Greg, for employer contributions to healthcare plans specifically? Is it 50% still kind of the majority, and then you have other companies that contribute 100% or 90%? Are you seeing any trends, or are you kind of seeing it hold steady the last couple of years?
Right now, it's hold steady for sure. It's hold steady. If not, previous years actually reinvesting into the employee benefit program to get their benefit plan within or above benchmarks from a recruiting and retention standpoint. Going into this year, a lot of wait and see, a lot of let's us hold things as is close as possible. So I don't see our clients investing in additional benefits as much as previous years, but certainly trying to hold where they're currently at. Tom, the benchmark that we see is 73%, if you want to be very specific, from a single employee contribution. So employer paying 73% of the individual premium. Now, going into 2024, we might see things differently. So again, 14 years in the business, I've seen two recessive periods, in that time. Obviously, the 2008-9 time period was deep in cuts per se. The last one, not so much. And so right now we'll have to wait and see how things all play out. Right now, it's certainly a wait and see approach.
So I have a question regarding that. So as we look ahead, if for those companies that are going to need to cut costs, do you foresee, or what benefit offerings do you see changing should they need to cut those costs and still keep their employees engaged?
Yeah, great question. So just going off of historical data and my personal experience, the first thing that you'll see employers when it comes to cutting costs is raising deductibles or changing their contributions. If we're going to be more dramatic, and we saw enhanced benefits into family coverages throughout the last 2 years, the first thing to take away would be in that, if you are going to start to really take away benefits, at least from the medical perspective, it's taking away from those families. So very tough decision to make, but your employees are primarily the ones driving your business and the success of your organization. So they really want to start to squeeze down and really protect those individuals that are driving your business. And so really trying to not touch those benefit offerings, but also look at, your plus ones and your families. I saw that in 2008, 2009. I haven't seen it since. I've only seen enhancements, but that's where it could potentially go depending on how the economy goes.
And do you expect the employer contributions to change?
Yep. So that would be another thing that they would take a look at, right? So say if I'm contributing 90, well, now we're going to go to 80. If I'm contributing 75, I'm going to slide down to 70 or 65. Whatever the budget and whatever the business allows us to do, we're certainly going to work within the parameters of the budget is really what it comes down to. All the other benefits out, that I talked about, like lifestyle accounts, spending accounts, HSA contributions, another one that would be potentially, taking a look at. If you have an HSA and you're offering, the benchmark is $500 individual, 1,000 family. That's been that benchmark for the last several years. That's another area that companies would potentially start to take away those benefits. Again, I'm not seeing anybody do that right now. Certainly more of a wait and see approach versus enhanced benefits at this time. But those are things that could be coming down the pipe. So not seeing that in this year's renewal season, potentially in next year's renewal season, just kind of a wait and see approach. It's also very, very important that you partner with a broker that has actuaries and underwriters that are fighting for our clients when it comes to making sure the renewal is justified in the marketplace, making sure you're leveraging and negotiating on behalf of your clients to the best of your ability. Very, very, very important.
Yeah, that's great. Then turning to mental health, you had in one of your items on the previous slide there, you'd overviewed mental health. It continues to be a critical issue for employers, employees, whether staff employees, leadership. Mental health has affected everyone, and I think that the perception of mental health has definitely changed. It's talked about much more now than it was in 2019 and before. How are you seeing companies helping in this area in terms of health and benefits?
Yeah, Tom, mental health and the challenges of mental health are very, very real. The past 2 years, we received numerous emails, phone calls from our leaders of our clients saying, I have an individual that needs some really big help here. They've reached out, they've stated some really tough things to hear, and we really need to help them. So certainly working with your medical providers, certainly working with the current benefit plan that's currently offering mental health resources, very, very important. More and more companies this past year put in additional mental health resources, telehealth resources, in-home care resources that reach out to the medical piece, but also to the mental health piece. Right now, waiting periods can be up to 2 to 3 weeks to find a mental health professional to be seen. So really bringing telehealth resources specific to mental health has certainly been a godsend to some of our clients and some people that work within those organizations. More and more resources certainly are available in the marketplace. There's more innovation when it comes to mental health resources. MMA, we have more than several that we reach out to. And then we also have internally mental health resource support through the W-2 employees of MMA. We do some mental health training the leaders on how to deal with these types of situations, as well as bringing specific resources directly to our clients and the employees of our clients.
Excellent. I just want to remind everybody, feel free to put your questions in the comments as we're talking to Greg. If you have anything that's top of mind for you or your organization, please let us know. We have a great resource here to help out today. So one of the things that I think about a lot is diversity and inclusion, and it's so important to our community. We did our last live cast with the senior demographer for the state of Minnesota, and she talked about how our population is going to, in the state of Minnesota specifically, is going to maintain because of the diversity that we have in our state. What benefit areas should companies be thinking about when attracting a diverse workforce?
Great question. And so 5-6 years ago, MMA started to go down this journey saying, okay, we want to not necessarily just look differently to our clients and throughout our office, but we also want to take additional steps. And I'm going to get to the next slide of what does that mean to be diverse, to have equity within our populations and to be inclusive, to have inclusive environments. Okay. So why MMA decided to go down this road many years ago, again, from a attract and retain employees, right? The marketplace is changing. We want to make sure that we're getting the best and the brightest that's available to us. We think it really fosters engagement and productivity within the walls of MMA. And then lastly, it drives innovation and creative business solutions. So really being an inclusive organization, really be having an innovative culture is very, very important to us, and we want to continue that. So how do we do that? Diversity, equity, inclusion is certainly one of those steps. So I want to focus on the internal things, because I personally have gone through these trainings. This is how MMA started our journey, is really to start looking internally at the current employees and driving training. So these are trainings that we do. We have diversity, equity, inclusion consultants within our organization. Gary Abernathy, Amanda Keys are the two on the bottom. And going through awareness, going through unconscious bias training, microaggression training was really, really eye-opening for myself. And some of the things that I learned going through like unconscious bias training or microaggressions. When I meet somebody that's been in the military, I say, thank you for your service. You're a hero. That person might not think that they're a hero at all. They might be struggling a lot by some of the experiences that they went through. And so not just jumping ahead and just, recognizing that person, maybe softening it up a little bit. I know I have a pretty extroverted personality, and so I certainly need to tone it down in those scenarios. If you are gay or lesbian and you are within the walls of MMA, do you have your picture up in your cube? Or do you think that I'm not going to put that picture of my family up because somebody might think differently of that? Something that never popped in my head, something that's very aware now. Another example was used as a middle-aged female, and automatically saying, hey, do you have kids? Well, that might upset that. Like, no, I don't have kids. I'm very happy to where I'm currently at. So there's some really small microaggression pieces that were eye-opening to me, and there were many, many more shared. So we started internally saying, okay, let's go through these types of trainings, making sure we have strong awareness. And then from there, now going out into the community and finding other individuals that can help offset or enhance our D&I initiative. So we partnered with an organization called Upturnships, which allows individuals that might not have an opportunity to get involved in the insurance industry. And so there's a great organization out there that connects us to individuals that we have the opportunity to go through an internship program with them. If they enjoy working with us, we think they can offer a value to our organization. We bring them on full time. That's been a home run for MMA, as well as just identifying other areas that we can look internally that maybe from the outside in now looks like we look more diverse, not just act more inclusive to other members. So that's been our journey. Since then, clients have learned about our journey and asked, how can we help them? And that's where Gary and Amanda have been really great. Several of my clients, maybe even a couple people on today, have engaged with Gary and Amanda, and really helping them build out our clients' D&I initiative. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
It's great. I love that concept, the upturnship concept. Definitely we'll connect after, and when we send out the follow-up material to the attendees here, we'll definitely include a resource there. I think sounds like a great organization and a great initiative.
Yeah, Tom, there's many organizations. That's just an organization that we currently partner with, but there's many organizations out there that can really connect dots for organizations that want to try to strengthen their D&I initiative.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I was wondering, backing up a bit, our conversation about the lifestyle benefits, and do you see employees using that maybe in coupling it with mental health concerns? If someone has, I just need a couple of days off, I just need to take a weekend away, just go to a cabin or just go somewhere, or hey, I just need to get out of town, just do a reset. Can employees use those funds for something like that?
They could. They wouldn't necessarily. We haven't seen lifestyle accounts being used that way. It's just more of a PTO, enhanced PTO, scenario. If I'm struggling in a situation, but it's also getting them involved with HR right away, making sure you're going through the proper steps. You're making sure you're documenting, because if it does escalate to a further extended leave, that there's obviously a lot of very smart HR individuals out here. They're making sure they're going through the proper steps in getting that person the help that they need, but also the documentation and making sure that we understand kind of what's going on. Yeah,
great. And one thing that we have utilized internally as a benefit enhancement is access to a financial planner.
Mm-hmm.
So our employees are able, it isn't through an insurance company. We just found someone that many of our staff had used for many years. So we just said, hey, why don't we just add this to our benefits? And they're invited to meet with that person. I believe it's once a quarter, just go through their financial checklist, help creating a budget or whatever they need, retirement planning. Have you seen that in other organizations?
I would say absolutely from a financial wellness perspective, enhancing
Okay.
financial wellness resources. Absolutely. Whether it be one-on-one counseling through MMA and our financial team or outside vendors, or financial advisors, et cetera. Absolutely. So there's been wage increases. Obviously, the last several years, stock market has been great. We've been since 2011 on a very strong bull run here. And so, things are going to be changing or are changing, unfortunately, relatively rapidly. I think it just really puts more focus on what's going on today and are my finances, in a good spot? And if they're not, making sure you have the proper resources. So bravo to your organization for looking out for your employees, certainly seeing more employees.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, last Greg. Are you back with us, Greg? He disappeared for a second.
I think you might be frozen.
We'll get him back here in a sec. I see him.
I'm here.
There we go.
All right, sounds good. He disappeared for a second. Did it Houdini?
I have another question, and this is pointed. I have clients who have.
Yeah, screen went black there for a second, but all good. Looks like Jen's still coming back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Greg.
Okay.
Greg, can you hear me? Oh.
I can hear you, Jen.
Okay, well, Tom, if you could ask him, I'm wondering for clients that are asking their employees to come back.
Yeah, Tom, I can hear you just fine. I can see you just fine.
Cool.
Are they getting creative with any additional benefits to bring employees back to the office?
Jen must have a faulty connection.
Yeah. Are you seeing any creative benefits that are working for employers?
Well, creativity is always, we think they're creative, but again, there has to be the budget for it, and the need. So I think the creativity piece again is in mental health resources, bringing those additional resources to the table. Social well-being resources. We didn't talk about that yet. A lot more of volunteering, time off. Donation matching programs is becoming more and more popular internally at MMA, but we're also seeing other clients. When it comes to the donation piece, I put on an annual fishing tournament that allow some clients and friends, and we raise some money doing it that way. So I think we've seen more and more of those types of events happen since we've come out of COVID, more in-person pieces and things. When it comes to the education communication of benefit plans and overall, I think education or communication to employees, I think there's been a lot of creativity in that specific area when, using apps and technology, reaching out to your employees. So we use a lot of Brain Shark videos now, voiceover presentations. We put apps, benefit plans. So I think there's a lot of innovation in the marketplace. It's just a matter of what the client is looking for and what that budget looks like. So at MMA, we have an innovation council that all, hundreds of different vendors that are approaching MMA and want to do business with us, sitting down on an innovation council and really understanding what is out there and then bringing it to the marketplace is really important.
Yeah. What about, and I think maybe Jen, this is what you're trying to get at in terms of returning to the office.
Yeah.
I think a lot of companies, a lot of our customers are in the manufacturing world, and that's all on site. It's just kind of the expectation. When people go into the field, they assume it's going to be on site, and that's what they love. But a lot of, even in manufacturing companies, there's the operations people, finance people, perhaps HR that don't need to be in. Then you have other companies that they are working 100% remote or have been, and then sometimes leadership would ask them to come back to the office either full-time or part-time. Are you seeing any benefits in that realm? Like, it's a change. If people have been working from home for the past 2 or 3 years, now employers are asking them to come into the office, which is, perception is, okay, now that's extra cost and wear and tear on the vehicle, time, buying lunch, those types of things when they come into the office. Have you seen any changes in that area?
I think employers, to entice people to come back to the office, yes, lots more lunches, happy hours, get-togethers, bring the band back together type of things. We certainly see more and more of that. But I don't see everybody going back to the office happening again, at least for the near term.
Mm-hmm.
I think remote working and hybrid. You look at myself, for example, I've always been hybrid, right? I'm out with clients most of my day, right? So I'm only in the office a couple of days a week, even before COVID. That hasn't changed. And I think that you've seen productivity levels actually increase in a hybrid environment, if not a remote setting. So I don't think we're going to see everybody rushing back to the office from a productivity standpoint. But it also depends on your culture, right? We do have clients that they were 100% in the office all the time. That's the way they're going to be. So it really does come down to your culture. But from a true productivity standpoint, I think you can certainly operate on a hybrid and or remote workforce if it works for your business. At MMA, we're certainly hybrid right now. And I don't see us being 100% back in the office again. But, again, that's at least in the near term, that's how it is.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a important topic that everyone's working through. Every company is working with their employees and having discussions, having surveys about what they want to do. And I think through conversation, I think everyone will come to a good middle ground around that. But it's interesting because for employees that have been used to it, and then coming back to the office does have some costs that they haven't been used to for the past few years. So be further discussions around that, I'm sure.
Yeah, but no, we don't see any additional costs or, hey, I'm now driving to the office, I want more gas money or, dry cleaning money or anything like that. We haven't seen any of that as of yet.
Yeah. Great. Well, great. Audience, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the chat and Greg will handle them right away. At this point, we'd love to turn it over and get a little bit more conversational with you, Greg, to help the audience get to know you a little bit better. We like to call the lightning round questions. So we have a few teed up questions for you here that are kind of meant to be smaller discussion points and get your thoughts on these.
Oh boy. All right. Let her rip.
Here's an easy one, I think. What do you love most about working at Marsh?
Oh, now this is not cliche because I'm sure it's going to sound, like a standard response, but really the people of the organization, the culture of the organization, and the leadership of the organization. So I started in 2008 because of the leadership, because of the opportunity, and because of the culture. And I've never wavered on this. I will be retiring from this organization because of that. So 15 more years, and then puts me at 60, and then we'll see. Maybe I'll go do something else, be a full-time football coach or something. But I absolutely love my job. I love my clients. I'm indebted to my clients for them to give me the opportunity to service their benefit programs. Lots of great friendships throughout the years, and I feel extremely blessed to work for a great organization.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've heard nothing but great things about Marsh over the years, and you guys have a fantastic reputation. So that's great. What are your favorite Minnesota fall and winter activities?
Oh, well, I just mentioned I love coaching football. So I have a senior and a freshman. And so they don't need that anymore. I don't get to coach their sports anymore. So I actually, so I was a high school football coach before I got my big boy job years ago, and got married and kids and all that kind of stuff. And so this year I got the opportunity to get back into high school coaching. So this fall I've been at Lakeville South High School, coaching on the defense. Absolutely love it. And again, just a testament to MMA for giving me the opportunity to do that. 4 to 6, I'm basically cutting out of work and going to coach football, and then have to, at times jump back on email or get some additional work done because of my absence there. But they've been very, very supportive of this passion. I also love the outdoors. Anything to get me outside, I love it. So whether it be playing football, going for walks, seeing the fall colors, hunting, fishing, I love being outside. So, and this is just, I think, the best time of the year right now.
Yeah, that's
Very good.
spectacular. That's awesome. You're a Lakeville South guy.
Lakeville South, absolutely. So,
Yeah. Our CEO Brad is heavily involved with Lakeville North. So if he's listening now, he can chime in and start a little ruckus with you.
Brad's a great guy. We had the opportunity to coach hockey together when our kids were mites, and so Brad's a wonderful guy. Great hockey coach, great talent.
Awesome. We'll leave it at that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Just a different sticker on the back of his truck or car. That's all. So.
Yeah. That's great. What is your favorite artist or band, Greg?
Well, I would say I probably lean more towards the country piece. So when Eric Church was in town, we took our kids, my wife and I took our two boys to our first family concert. So
nice.
So Church and Morgan Wallen played. And so we said we were going to the Eric Church concert. They said they were going to the Morgan Wallen concert. So, but I certainly would say I side more on the country side. But 80s, 90s rock is always good too. So whatever's on the radio, though, I'm pretty much into it.
That's awesome. Great. And our last lightning round question: what is your best superpower?
My best superpower? I don't know if I have any superpowers. I would say that I'd want a superpower. When it comes to I guess working out, I've always kind of been pretty consistent at that. Just taking care of myself. So I'd say if there was a superpower that I would want, it would be just like superhuman strength, I guess. What's the movie? Bruce Willis, Unbreakable. I don't know if anybody's seen that movie or not. How he just has that freakish strength, and then he just never gets hurt. I'm approaching 46, and then you get out of bed, and the back hurts a little bit more, and the shoulder hurts, and this and that. It'd be really nice if we just didn't have any of those aches and pains. So I'd say that would be a superhuman or a strength that I would want to have, I guess.
That's great. Fantastic. I don't see any questions come through in the chat, which is totally fine. If you have any follow-up questions afterwards, feel free to ping any of us. With that in mind, Greg, how can the audience get in touch with you?
Certainly, I believe my email address is linked to this page. If there's certainly a list, I'd be more than happy to send out my contact information. LinkedIn's always a great way to get a hold of me. You can either reach out via message or just send me an invite through LinkedIn. We can certainly connect that way. Yeah,
awesome. We will forward this to the RSVPs, and we'll add your contact info to that too, so everyone can look forward to that in the next couple of days. Fantastic. Jen, anything else before we wrap up? I know they're being live. There's always a little bit of a technical hiccup at some point, and we lived that today. But any final thoughts, Jen?
It's so important, and I know that all of our guests that are with us today just understand, and they're just looking for those creative ways to keep their like you mentioned, our most important resources are people, and just keeping them engaged. And so hopefully as we go through 2023 and into 2024, we're just doing everything that we can to keep all of this front and center and top of mind, which I know our folks here are doing. It's just such I'm rambling because this is what happens to me when I get really passionate about things. It's like, what thought comes first? So just thank you for everything. You've given me a lot to think about. I wrote down Gary and Amanda's names, so I'm going to definitely reach out to them on LinkedIn today.
In understanding that primarily in HR, focus today, love working with HR people because they want to protect their employees. They want what's best for my employees, and enhancing benefit plans and doing the very best for the people that run our business and do such a great job. And then you have, the CFO lens, right, where it's more financial. And so that's where we're kind of fit right in between those, right? There's a budget we have to make sure we stay involved with, but how can we enhance and squeeze every dollar possible to bring the best benefit offering to our employees, right? And I think MMA does an exceptional job of that. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak today. So really, really appreciate the time.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Greg. Thanks for being with us today. Everyone in the audience, thank you for joining us. Stay tuned to our LinkedIn page. And if you listen to podcasts, you can find the Konik Blueprint podcast there for other related conversations. And we'll have this conversation uploaded in a few days as well. And as I mentioned, I'll send out a follow-up email with Greg's contact to everyone over the next couple of days. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Enjoy your day.